curse of clarity. The more you understand, the less happy you become. Not because knowledge brings sorrow, but because it steals your ability to return to who you once were. We were raised to believe that intelligence is light, that wisdom leads to success, fulfillment, and joy. But no one ever warned you that too much light can blind you. When you awaken deeply enough, you begin to see a world others don't, not the rosy illusion, but the cold gray of truth. You see through people. You understand the hidden gears behind life's machinery. But with that comes isolation. Nothing feels pure anymore, nothing feels whole. You sit at crowded parties surrounded by laughter and small talk, yet inside there's only silence and suspicion. You wonder, how are they laughing? How can they live so lightly? You don't say it, but you know the truth. You no longer belong here. Wisdom isn't just light, it's fire. And if you're not strong enough to live without illusions, that fire will consume you. But here's the deeper wound. The pain of the intelligent doesn't come only from what they perceive. It comes from something more primal, something deeper than the will to survive. A force invisible, insatiable, that doesn't ask for your permission. You think you chose no. Desires chose you. You thought knowledge would give you control over life, but it only revealed how little control you truly have. Because beneath intellect, there's a current more powerful than reason, a blind, relentless drive. The will to live, as philosopher Schopenhauer once called it. It whispers more, better, faster. It never sleeps. It doesn't care how tired you are. Think about it. You get a raise, you're happy for an hour, maybe a day, then you want the new phone, the bigger apartment, the luxury vacation. You haven't even finished enjoying one thing before you're chasing the next, and the worst part, we call that personal growth. But growth without breaks is a machine. A beautiful, unstoppable machine that runs you into the ground. The intelligent suffer more because they see that machine. They see the loop, and yet they still can't escape it. So they go silent. Not because they're arrogant, but because no one really gets it. They try. They open up to someone close. Confess the ache of meaninglessness, the quiet fear behind their eyes, only to be told you're just being negative. You should try being more open, and so they stop sharing. They laugh, they work, they live, but inside they're like a planet spinning off course, emitting signals that no one hears. Smart people aren't lonely because they can't connect. They're lonely because they can't find anyone on the same frequency. And the most painful loneliness isn't when there's no one to talk to. It's when there's no one you can say what you really think to. But there's something even darker than loneliness, being trapped inside your own mind, where thoughts echo endlessly and no one, not even those who love you, can quiet them. You're not living, you're only thinking about how to live. The storm within, after you can no longer say what you truly feel, you begin to hold everything inside. But what's inside is not peace, it's a storm. A mind that never stops analyzing, judging, imagining, doubting itself. Overthinking isn't thinking too much about one thing. It's thinking about everything, then thinking about the fact that you're thinking too much. You fall into a maze with no exit, where every answer leads to another question, and the smarter you are, the more complex the maze becomes. A regular person faces a problem, gets mad for a few minutes, then moves on. But you replay it for hours. Was I wrong? Do they secretly hate me? Am I broken? What should I have done? Aren't I supposed to be better than this? A tiny moment becomes a psychological trilogy. And the worst part, it never stops. You're still awake at 2 a.m. Not because of your job, but because your brain refuses to shut up. Intelligence is a double-edged sword. If you don't learn to let go, it will turn into chains, locking you inside a prison built by your own thoughts, but there is a way out. Not by thinking less, but by living more. That's where art comes in, where nature speaks, where the soul whispers louder than the mind. Peace doesn't come from finding answers. It comes from no longer needing them. You can't silence thought. You can't force your brain to stop analyzing. And the harder you fight it, the deeper you fall into the spiral. But then something happens. You hear a piece of music. You stand before a sunset. You watch the rain in stillness, and for just a moment you stop thinking. You start being. That is the power of art, of spirituality. They don't ask to be understood. They only ask to be felt. In those moments, you're not a thinker. You're not a problem to be solved. You are presence itself. You don't chase truth, you live it. A woman once suffered through months of depression. Every analysis, every therapy, every sermon, all meaningless. Until one day she stood in front of the ocean, no words, no theories, just waves. And for the first time in months, her mind went silent, not because someone explained it all, but because there was nothing left that needed explaining. Wisdom needs a pause, not to become weaker, but to return you to yourself. Art doesn't heal with logic. It heals by allowing you to be. Spirituality doesn't demand answers. It teaches you to embrace the mystery as part of the beauty, and then you might ask, if intelligence doesn't bring happiness, then what's the point of it? That's when you understand wisdom isn't the enemy. It's the tool. What matters is not having it, but how you use it. Wisdom doesn't kill, but being ruled by it can. You've seen its dark side, the loneliness, the overthinking, the spiral into meaninglessness. But you've also seen the light in music, in trees, in silent moments that ask for nothing but your presence. So what's the use of wisdom? Is it just a trap? No. Wisdom is like fire. If you control it, it warms, it illuminates, it guides. If you don't, it burns you from within. You don't need to abandon it. You just need to stop letting it drive, when to think, when to feel, when to analyze, when to let go. That's the real freedom. Einstein once said he feared a day when technology would surpass human interaction, and the world would be full of idiots. Yet even he, a genius, admitted he often felt alone in a world no one seemed to understand. Not for lack of intelligence, but for lack of a moment where he could just be. Without needing to think. Without needing to explain. Wisdom is not the truth. It's the key. You can use it to unlock awakening or to trap yourself in a maze of mirrors. You don't need all the answers, you just need to learn to live fully with the questions. If intelligence is a blade, then learn to hold it with compassion. And if you've ever felt too smart to be happy, maybe it's time to stop being the mind and start being the soul.